Hello book people, PT Hylton here with my TBR for January 2015. These are the books I'm going to be reading in January 15. First of all, since it's my first TBR of 2015, I set up a few rules for myself this month. You may know of some of them if you watched my kind of 2015 goals video, but I want to do at least 2 buddy reads a month. I want to read at least 2 books by indie writers a month. And 2 goals that I actually didn't mention on my goals list. I'm going to be reading 1 book from the Wheel of Time each month. I have read up to, I think, book 7 maybe, or book 8 in that series. I think book 7, a long time ago, but I kind of forgot everything, so I want to start over. And I'm kind of going to be doing that as a buddy read starting in February because I read the first book last month, and I'm kind of waiting for the people I'm buddy reading it with to read the first book this month, and then I'll jump in with them in February. So you won't see that on this TBR. But then the one other goal that I didn't mention that I've kind of made for myself since I made that video was to read 1 classic a month, because I feel I'm really weak in that area. There's so many great classic books I have not read. I want to make sure I'm digging into some of those. In this video, I'm going to break down the, I think, 7 books that I'll for sure be reading this month. And, if I have more time, I may slip in a couple other books here and there. But these are the books I'll for sure be tackling. First book I will be doing as a buddy read starting tomorrow, I think, is Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. This is a bind-up of 2 books, actually. They're both about these 2 characters who I believe are framed for murder, maybe the murder of a king. I don't know too much about it, but I've heard a lot of good things, and I'm really excited to read it. I'm going to be buddy reading this one, as I said. I'm not going to break down who I'm going to be buddy reading each of these books with, but I will do so when I actually review the books a little bit later on. The second book I'm going to be reading is Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson. This is the first book in a 10-book series, and I'm also buddy reading this one, and I'm glad I am because, I've heard a lot that this book can be pretty dense to get through. There's a lot of really intricate world building, a lot of things to know. So I think it'll be great to buddy read this and to have some people to kind of help me sort through everything and keep everything straight. Looking forward to getting into that one. I'm going to start that one on the 1st also tomorrow. So I'm going to have 2 going concurrently, which is going to be weird. I've never done that before with a buddy read. A book I'm going to be also buddy reading later in the month is The Magicians by Lev Grossman. I love this cover, and I also really love the spine. Cool, huh? I never got so into spines until I started doing booktube videos and watching booktube videos. You've corrupted me, booktube. This is a book about Quentin Coldwater, who I believe is a young man who is kind of unhappy and gets the opportunity to learn some magical powers, get some magical powers, I think. I don't know too much about this one either, other than it's supposed to be very dark, and I'm really looking forward to this. It sounds like, from what I know about it, that this book is definitely right in my wheelhouse. I'm greatly looking forward to it. For my final buddy read of the book, yes, 4 buddy reads in January. That's the most I've ever done by far, so this is going to be cool, going to be interesting. But the 4th book is going to be The Royal Assassin, or Royal Assassin, by Robin Hobb. This is the sequel to Assassin's Apprentice, the 2nd book in the Farseer trilogy. This is the 2nd book in the Farseer trilogy. I love the first one a lot, so really looking forward to seeing what happens to these characters next. For my classics this month, I wanted to read some Charles Dickens because I've never read any Charles Dickens, and he's kind of good out here. I don't know. But I wanted to read Great Expectations. That's a book that, a lot of people cite as one of the best novels of all time. And so I wanted to read that this month. The hardest thing about this book was picking which edition to read, because there's so many great editions out there. There's like the Drop Caps edition, which was really cool. There's some real big, nice, unique hardcover editions that are great. Eventually, though, since I'm going to be doing one of these classics a month, I wanted to get an edition that I could, hopefully get some other classics in the same edition and kind of build a little bit of a collection, which I could have done with the Drop Caps version as well from Penguin. But what I eventually went with was the Penguin Classics hardcover edition. These editions are really cool. I think they're kind of like cloth bound. They all have these kind of really cool patterns on the cover. They come with, they've got the little ribbon in them. Just a really neat looking set of books, and I'm looking forward to adding some more of these to my collection throughout the year, maybe 1 a month. And the other thing that I liked about these is that there are quite a few Charles Dickens books in this line. So if I really fall in love with Charles Dickens and want to read more of him, I can get some matching books. I'm also going to be reading One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. This is the book of the month for the BookTube Reading Buddies group on Goodreads. I read Sometimes a Great Notion by Ken Kesey years ago and loved that. So I'm really looking forward to this one. It takes place in a mental hospital. You probably have seen the movie maybe. But really looking forward to digging into this one. I love Ken Kesey's writing style. It's real kinetic and very vibrant. So looking forward to that. Finally, for my 2 indies I'm going to read this month. The first one is Breakers by Edward W. Robertson. This is a massive series, the first book in a massive series that's pretty popular. It's a 7-book series, and then after this series is over, he's actually got another book set in the same world, like 1,000 years in the future, 1,000 years later. But it starts out in present day, and it's the story of basically an alien virus comes to Earth and wipes out the majority of humanity, and the survivors of the virus are kind of left to try and survive. I'm not sure if they have to fight the aliens or if they're just kind of trying to survive the aftermath of the plague. So I've heard and read some great things about this book and about this writer, so really looking forward to checking this one out. Finally, I'm going to read Chimeras by E Georgie. This is kind of a sci-fi techno thriller, I think. It's the story of a guy who's, I believe, been genetically engineered. He has he can track people by smell, and he probably, I think, has some other kind of genetic powers, so to speak, as well. Someone starts murdering children who are genetically altered, like him, and he kind of goes out to solve that mystery and to protect these kids, I believe. I don't know a ton about this book, but it was recommended to me by a friend. And the author provided me a copy of this book so that I could give it an honest review. So those are the books I'm going to be reading this month. Really excited. So many great books to get to. I went a little crazy and bought a lot of books this past month or so. I haven't done a haul. I just figured I'd kind of show them to you gradually as I read them. Very excited for January. Very excited to hear what you're reading. Let me know in the comments below. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.